Helms. I ran into Ed recently. We were in, where were we? Oh, we were in Austin, right? South by Southwest at the iHeart Podcast Awards.
Yeah, that's right.
We were at the iHeart Pasta Awards.
The Pasta Awards.
We were talking about all of your credits, but you missed that conversation. We were talking about where all people would all know you from, which are, places like The Hangover, The Office, the Vacation reboot movie, The Daily Show. Were you a correspondent on The Daily Show?
Yeah, I was a correspondent from 2002 to 2006.
I forgot about that one. I forgot that you did that.
I mean, I made a huge impact.
Well, yeah.
And it was, no, actually, it was a pretty incredible time because it was the W years, and there was a chunk of time there where it was just Colbert, me, Cordry, and Sam B were the four correspondents, and it was a hell of a lot of fun and an unbelievable amount of work. Like it almost broke me.
Yeah. Do you ever think that you wish you were doing that during this kind of administration?
No, never.
I don't either. It's too much garbage to talk about all the time.
It's too overwhelming. John goes on once a week now and absolutely crushes it, and I love it. And the other correspondents now also host the show for the rest of the week, which I think is a great format because it gets it really builds the, I don't know, like the communal vibe of the show. They're killing it. It's so good. I'm gonna leave it to them.
Ed, I don't want to sound sexist right now, but I just want to say, since women are allowed to talk about men in this way now, and because you guys had your way with us, I just want to say that you've had some sort of glow up. And I don't want to sound condescending or patronizing in any way, but I just want to say you've burst into manhood in such a way. And I think I told you this at the iHeart Podcast Awards, but you really look very handsome. Your hair, you've taken off the glasses. You're very debonair almost. I want to say.
All right.
Yeah.
I think, I finally went through puberty. So.
I think that's what I was. Yeah, that's what I was getting to. I was like, have you gone through? It feels like you must have hit it late, and that you hit it hard.
Can I tell you something? I just turned 50. First of all, I really appreciate you saying that, and I just turned 50. Well, I'm a little over a year ago, so I'm 51
so
now.
You're 51.
But I'm still in my head. I just turned 50, and I'm like healthier than I've ever been. I don't know. I'm eating so much better. I'm more active. I also have two little kids that keep me like very much on my toes.
Have you done paternity tests for the children?
No. Why should I?
Just to make sure you're their father. I mean, yeah. Why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure I'm their dad.
Yeah, but that's not 100% guarantee. You know that.
Wait, what are you doing? You're just lobbing doubt into my long-term marriage?
I'm just putting things out there. I just want you to be, have all the information. I don't know that you do have all.
Arbitrarily ruthless thing to just like throw into a conversation. Have you had a paternity?
Arbitrarily ruthless is a good. I like that.
Great.
I like that combo platter. You would also know Ed Helms from his podcast because it's called Snafu, just like his new book that's out. It's called Snafu, which is a great book to have around the house. And Catherine even suggested to have in your bathroom.
It's a perfect bathroom book.
It's a perfect bathroom book.
I'm not judging. Read it anywhere you want. And you're right, actually. It is a good bathroom book because it's so episodic, right? It's the Snafu, the definitive guide to history's greatest screw-ups, and each chapter is a different historical screw-up. So yeah, it's perfect. Yeah. If you got 5 minutes here, just pick up, read a few pages, enjoy. Might even help get things moving. I don't know.
Absolutely. I mean, it is. It's a very relaxing book because and it's very interesting. I mean, you're a big history buff, and you kind of take all of history's blunders and talk about them. Some, not all of them, but who could count all of them? Can you imagine what's going to happen after this administration in 100 years when people? If there's still a planet and people can reflect. This is a great piece of. This book is comprised of lots of stuff that nobody, I mean, what I've read so far, none of these stories I've ever heard. So it's very interesting. I, of course, was drawn to the LSD story immediately.
There you go.
Let me just read the title of that chapter, or the caption for that chapter. In the 1950s, a CIA scientist secretly bought the entire world's supply of LSD, embarking on a horrific attempt to discover the secrets to mind control.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the story of MK Ultra, which a lot of people know. It's a relatively out there incident, but Sidney Gottlieb was this CIA scientist who just started drugging people, and George White was one of his underlings who actually. This is so insane. This was all under like official government, activity. They built a apartment in San Francisco that had a double wall with a glass mirror where he could sit there and watch. And he had sex workers bring customers back, and then they would drug these customers and presumably also have their sexy time. And he was just sort of taking notes and God knows what else behind this double mirror. And this was all in the name of science for government research.
Your tax dollars at work.
Your tax dollars. And at the end of it, when it was all exposed, they came clean. Like, we actually gathered zero scientific data from this.
This just sounds like a guy jerking off behind a wall.
It does.
And so I don't know why. And also, I don't like the way it besmirches LSD's reputation. You know what I mean? Why did LSD have to be involved in this? This guy was just trying to get his rocks off. When I read this, I was like, where does the LSD even come into play, that you're able to control someone sexually via LSD?
Well, there was a big LSD was so new, and there was this sort of like international competition with the Soviets. Like, the Cold War was flaring up. Like, is mind control a weapon that we can use, or is LSD maybe this crazy truth serum? Like, how does it affect people, and can we weaponize it or use it in advantageous ways? And yes, it just devolved into like a guy jerking off behind a glass mirror, like watching people. And it's so much darker than that too. Like, they wound up drugging prisoners. They wound up drugging people that they would go into bars and drug people and then observe them for hours afterwards and just basically watch them melt down on these crazy acid trips that they had no idea that they were going on. People thought they were going insane. And this is a very weird factoid. Whitey Bulger, who is the famous Boston mob boss, who recently died. He was one of the when he was in federal prison in Atlanta, I think in the 60s. He agreed to be experimented on in this way, and for months he was given these intense psychedelics. And he says that it gave him these like violent visions for the rest of his life. Like, he would have horrible nightmares and violent visions. So I don't know. Maybe the CIA helped create the monster that Whitey Bulger became.
I would just also like to say this is not how LSD is anymore. You don't have to take LSD like this. LSD can be microdosed. I'm a big proponent of microdosing LSD. This is not a microdose.
No, those are probably like mega doses.
These are mega doses.
Yeah.
These are mega
and they're also
doses.
involuntary, and they're in terrible contexts.
It's torturous. Imagine being put on that. Yeah.
Literally torturous. So wait, I am so curious about this. I've never done I've never had like a serious psychedelic experience, and I want you to tell me what I should do. Like, how do I dip my toe into this? Because I'm fascinated by it. And I kind of want to.
I mean, microdosing is kind of like a whole new world, Ed. Like, it's a way to you could easily take one on your on a work day, take a microdose of LSD. You could even rip it in half. They're little paper tablets, like they've always been. But I get mine from Canada. I get all the best drugs from Canada, the purest drugs, I should say, from Canada. But microdose really changes the game, because then you don't ever have to feel like you're being overwhelmed, or you have to go sit down in a corner while you get, you don't feel that way.
And just watch the clock and you're like, I'm going to be okay.
Yeah, it's not like that. I don't want anybody sitting in a corner. I mean, I don't want anyone freaking out, but I do. I do think of it as like an enhancement, like a life enhancement, a performance enhancement, especially if I'm outdoor, like exercising, if I'm on a big bike ride or if I'm on a big ski day. I love to take a little LSD. It just is like, it's like an upper of energy, enthusiasm, calm, like it makes you less nervous. If I'm going heli-skiing, like it just really intensifies your focus in a way that is beneficial to your experience.
Who
Now, would
are you?
I actually write that down because
Heli-skiing?
what did I just say? It feels like I'm on LSD right now, and I'm not.
Now, would you have him start with LSD or like try a mushroom situation first?
Well, I think they're all different. Like mushrooms are good too. I'm not, I'm more into the LSD right now just because it's had such a positive impact on so many people in my life. The MDMA is different. MDMA, some people can have a great reaction to that. That's also a microdose. But MDMA to me is the love drug. So that's a heart opener. And what I love, Ed, about all these drugs is that they kill the ego. So there's no ego. Like you're just like open instead of having kind of, any sort of negative thoughts are just kind of eradicated. Like even people you dislike, you like when you're on these drugs. And I think that really just says it all. So a lot of couples counseling, like a lot of couples will have MDMA guided couples counseling because when you take the MDMA, there's no defensiveness. You're both just open to hearing the other person's argument. So there's been a lot of success. And the reason why I was drawn to it in the first place, and I don't know if I have massive PTSD to anything, but is that it's helped so many people with PTSD, so many veterans, so many people who've been through bad experiences, and that's scientific. I mean, like the data is there, so yeah, you can't argue with that. And I think we're in a place where drugs come on the scene in the way that you describe in your book, in this chapter. And then over this period of time, look where we've come. We've realized, okay, that's too much. This is the right amount. This is what so it's like any other substance. You have to figure out what the right balance is.
Yeah. Wow.
But I'm an advocate.
That's so fascinating. And I'm so curious. And I have had friends do the MDMA couples counseling and had wonderful experiences. And I had a lot of friends in college just kind of having fun with various psychedelics. And I've always been a little bit, I don't know, intimidated or something. But microdosing feels like a good baby step because I do want to. I just want to kind of like, I don't know, mix it up a little bit. I like what you're saying. If it allows me to go heli-skiing, then yeah, I'm hella on board. So now,
where did you go to college, Ed?
Oberlin College in Ohio.
That used
to
be. Well, I know Oberlin. Yeah, that's a very well-respected school. I thought that was a women's college. Did it used to be a women's college?
No.
Oh.
No, in fact, it's the first. It's the first college in the United States to admit women. Oh. So, yeah, that's one of its claims to fame. It's always been a very progressive kind of, intellectually exciting place. And it has a conservatory of music as well, the Oberlin Conservatory, that is a world-renowned, music study place.
And what did you study there? Did you study acting?
No. I mean, I did. I was in some plays and took some acting classes, but I studied. I kind of had a funny academic journey. I started out
gynecology.
Yeah, I was like, guys, I want to be a gynecology major. They're like, we don't have that. You can't do that. And I was like, well, here's my notes.
You can't major in gynecology since when?
I'm just kidding. So I said I wanted to be a geology major because I loved being outdoors. I was kind of like I loved camping and hiking and all these things. I was like, geology. That's what geologists do for a living. And then I got into the hard science courses, and I was like, no, this is terrible. I am not cut out for this. And I kind of did a gut check, and I really wanted to make movies and be in movies and work on movies. And so I became a film major, but Oberlin didn't really have that at the time. They do now, but at the time they had a film minor. And so I was able to do this weird thing where you design your own major, and I cobbled together like different acting classes and directing, theater directing with the film courses. And then I spent a semester at the NYU Film School one spring. I spent the whole semester there. And that was so cool and eye-opening. And so I graduated with a kind of made up major that was basically a film major.
Well, that's nice that you're able to do that. There's not a lot of schools that allow you to make up your own major.
You really have to make it sound legit.
Mm-hmm.
But I was always a good kind of salesman. I could like, charm the committee, and it worked. I graduated.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you did. I mean, you've been entertaining us for a long time. How does you I like that you're able to marry your careers together and do this kind of stuff that you're really interested in, also this historical stuff, while being very entertaining. I worked closely with Zach Galifianakis for a while on the road. Well, not as long as you did on The Hangover, but on the road. And I have a great Zach Galifianakis story that I shared recently about him. I have a couple of Zach Galifianakis stories, but I want to know about your experience in working with Zach Galifianakis, because I think Zach is probably the funniest person I know.
I think you're right. I think he's the funniest person.
He reminds me of a human snuffleupagus, and that's not only because his scalp also isn't quite set to the top of his head. He doesn't have a hard scalp. He has a baby scalp.
Okay.
I've tugged on it. I haven't seen him in years, but when I was spending time with him, he'd always be like, touch my scalp, and it was always soft. You know how baby scalps are soft while they're forming? And
like
they've got
the
that
skull?
little... Yeah. And they've got that little spot where until it doesn't
Sure.
really get hard. His has never hardened. So I'm not sure what kind of creature he is.
Well, he's a snuffleupagus, like you said. He's a human snuffleupagus. I love a Sesame Street reference. Thank you for bringing that in.
Yeah, no problem. Absolutely. It's history.
I read somewhere that someone described Oscar Wilde as like the sharpest wit they had ever known, and that he was like the fastest with a zinger or a comeback or just a kind of quip or a joke or a comment on a moment. And that's Zach. Like I've never seen the speed that he like delivers a quip off of a situation. Like, or you say something dumb and he like instantly has the kind of zinger or comeback. And it's not always a zinger, like a kind of mean-spirited thing. Sometimes it's just a silly, ridiculous thing, but it's sharp and it's smart and it's so fast. Like his brain is just in a different gear than everyone else's. It's sort of like when Keanu Reeves in The Matrix like realizes he's the one, and all of a sudden he's like everyone else is in slow motion because they're in reality, and he's just like, oh, this is easy. That's how I think Zach's comedy brain works.
Funny.
Like he's just ahead of everybody else. And Todd Phillips, the director on The Hangover, he would always he directed with sometimes he'd direct from afar, like a lot of directors. He would sort of sit at the monitors or somewhere sort of off to the side with his own little monitor, and he'd call out things to us, and then Zach would always kind of zing back at him. and Todd was just like always like unbelievable. He just has the quickest, the quickest
driest wit. And the driest, because he's never laughing at himself.
No.
He's not loud. He's quiet. Yes. It's like quiet and under the radar.
And sweet. There's a sweetness to all of it. You know, I feel like there's certain comedians that can get away with pretty aggressive insults or just kind of like darker or things that would on paper be extremely mean-spirited, but because you know that they have such a big heart and they're such kind of sweet people, you're just like, it's the funniest thing. You give them so much leeway with that. And he's definitely one of those people.
Yeah, he used to. He probably still does this, where he plays the piano on set. He'll go up to the improv and just play the piano in between jokes. So there's just like this dramatic effect for absolutely no reason. And he had this joke where he's like, I thought about killing myself today, and then plays like 3 bars. And he's like, so I jumped off the roof of a Pizza Hut, but I only broke my leg. And you're like, that wouldn't be funny from anyone else at all, except for you and that fucking piano. And he's just so ridiculous. So he used to, I had to sleep, I was really broke, Ed, and I was doing San Francisco Punchline. He was the middle, Dave Attell was the headliner, and I was opening. Wow. And I had no money, so Zach's like, you can sleep in my hotel room at the Commodore. And I was like, okay, thank you. And then, and he said, I promise you're safe with me. And I was like, I believe you. I think I could take you physically, so I'm not concerned. And we would get to bed, and I had a terrible week. It was like my first week on the professional road with like two big, like heavy hitters, and I didn't know what I was doing. And every night I'd be so upset, like, fuck, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? He's like, this is part of it. You got to bomb. And then we'd go to bed, and we'd sleep in the same bed with our clothes on, and he would rub my hair before I went to sleep, and he would whisper in my ear, I will never rape you.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Such a sweet memory.
Is it a sweet memory?
Yeah, I think it is. It is a sweet, sweet memory. I've never had anyone say that to me.
You're right that that's just what I was saying before. Like, he's such a big-hearted, sweet person that he can make that joke and actually make you laugh. Because anyone else who said that to somebody, it almost sounds like I'm definitely going to do that. Right?
Yes. On that note, we're going to take a break with Ed Helms, and we'll be right back. We're back with Ed Helms. So you have to pick up this book. It's called Snafu, The Definitive Guide to History's Greatest Screw-Ups. And it's all the greatest screw-ups historically in this country and others, actually. Lots of it takes place on other lands. But it's a great book to have around, especially to pick up and put down when you want to get a little piece of information. And it's great. They're great talking points for conversation starters. I know a lot of people need conversation starters.
Yeah, and it'll make you like a killer at dinner parties.
Absolutely.
You've got a whole arsenal of great stories.
And it's a great gift, by the way. It's a great gift to give to somebody.
Yeah, especially a great guy gift, I feel like. And I also like that you say in the beginning, you're like, you know what? We've been through like shit before and like problems and like stupid mistakes before. Like, hopefully we'll survive everything that's going on now as well.
Yes, it's a great reminder of that everybody thought that it was the end of the world many, many times in our history, especially in the 50s, where some people look back at as one of the best times in America. People were scared to death of dying from a nuclear bomb during that time.
Yeah.
As Ed depicts in his book.
Yeah, it's always like the history of human folly is so overwhelming when you look back on it. And weirdly, I find that calming because we just keep moving. This is a scary time that we're in right now. It doesn't matter what your political disposition is. Like, it feels volatile. It feels like the division just feels crazy, like unusual, but it isn't that unusual. We have been in very similar situations in the past. And I'm not saying don't be afraid or don't work to make the changes you want to see in the world, but I am saying there's reassurance in this, in looking back and seeing like, oh, people did sort of fight through something or get through something and we got to a better place.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, are we ready for some advice?
Yes, Ed's going to give advice. Ed, you're going to be great at this.
Yeah, you're going to be perfect.
We have live callers, we have written callers, people calling in, they need help, and here you are, Ed Helms. Here you are to help
All right, I'm here for it.
Well, our first question has to do with having a long history with someone, since we're talking a lot about history today. The subject is office friendship gone awry, and this one's just an email. She's not calling in.
Okay.
Dear Chelsea, I work with a friend who I've known for 12 years. She referred me to the job we work at. She trained me and everything. However, she's a gatekeeper and always wants to be the hero at work. She's also loud and obnoxious when she talks about how we used to be ratchet and all, which was so long ago. She's kind of annoying in that sense. I find myself at times asking her to keep it down because we're at work. Also, nobody wants to hear that, and frankly, it's embarrassing. I'm now avoiding her outside of work, too. I don't know how to handle her. She overshares, and I don't want to be a part of it. She also seems jealous when I hang with other managers and coworkers. I'm not kissing ass, but I'm a social person. How do I manage this situation since I have to see her every day? I'm becoming resentful. Ugh. Love you and take care, Sammy.
Did she say at the beginning that this person was her superior at work?
No, but she got her the job.
Oh, the woman got her the job, or she?
Yeah, the woman got her the job.
Oh, I see. So that's also.
But we don't know what their status is.
Yeah, we
at
don't.
The job.
We're not sure about that, but
All right.
yeah.
I think that's an easy. I think that you just that's a conversation, an in-person conversation, one-on-one, where you go to lunch, you go to coffee, and you say, "Listen, like I know we had a lot of like wild times and a fun past, but like I feel like I've grown up a lot, and I feel like we've both grown up a lot. You know, don't make it just about you being like superior to her in that way, like you're mature and she isn't. Be like we've both grown up a lot, and like sometimes it's like I feel like it's a little embarrassing when I hear you talk about our past in front of our coworkers, and I totally get it. Like it's fun, and those were the best times. But like I think we have to have some sort of evolution, especially professionally, in a setting where I want to be taken seriously, and I don't want to take the fun out of it. But I also don't want to start avoiding you. You know, don't act like it's already happened. Just say like I'm starting to feel like I do want to kind of avoid you and take my own space, and I don't want to feel that way about you at all. I want to maintain this relationship, but also take it to the next level of like maturity and evolution. Like we're all going to have to grow up at some point, and you don't have to grow up and make it sound boring, but grow up and make it sound like, okay, now we're going to do different stuff, and we don't have to like live in the past, because that's also a thing that people get stuck in, is like living. They want to constantly live in like the best time that they had, which is like that, you know, varsity high school attitude. Like when you peak in high school, you want to live in high school for the rest of your life.
God damn, that's good. Chelsea, you're good at this.
Oh,
She really
Ed,
is.
Ed,
That's the real deal. That's the advice. That is good advice. Whoever the listener should definitely follow that advice. Now I'm going to give you some bad advice.
Great.
I think that you should
Fight the woman.
start slipping like massive doses of LSD into their coffee.
Perfect.
And
That's also advice.
Just MK Ultra them. And then also just subtly sabotage them at work in all kinds of different ways. You know, just like mess up their files. Like if they hand something in, see if you can grab it and take it so it's late and they get in trouble.
Love it.
Is that helpful? I don't know.
I think so.
It's perfect.
I think that's going to be very helpful, Ed.
No, but truly, Chelsea, it's so fun hearing you just like jump on that with the most constructive angle. Just like, hey, jump in and talk to this person. And just everything that you wrote in that email, that's pretty much that's your script. Like you can say that to this person and find the positive topspin on it. Find the language that that gives it connectivity instead of just like accusation and frustration but get into it. That's what I heard. That was like the main thing, was like just jump right into it.
Get into it, because I think avoidance is just always that is like
Nobody
gets anywhere by being an avoidant.
Where did you grow up, Chelsea?
In New Jersey.
There you go. See, I grew up in Atlanta, Georgia, and my mom's from Tennessee, my dad's from Alabama, and it's a lot of like, we don't talk about that.
Yeah.
It's a lot of like discomfort with. Like avoidance is like almost like a policy.
Did you grow up Southern Baptist?
No. My parents were pretty progressive politically and religiously, but we went to a Presbyterian church, which I liked a lot, and I know my parents valued a lot. But they also, after church, they would always be like, this stuff is kind of made up, but this is a good community institution, and we like a lot of the people, but you don't have to believe the actual, they would sort of undermine the religiosity of it.
Which is a great attitude. I read a quote once saying like, you're not praying. People who sit down and pray, it's not about who you're praying to. It's the act of praying that creates a better surrounding for the whole world.
Yes.
Right? Like the fact that people are praying, as long as you're praying for like peace in the world and love and goodness, it doesn't matter what you're saying. It's the act of it is an act in itself.
Yeah. It's the articulation of thoughts and ideas that have power in you. And I kind of think of therapy as the same way. It's like weirdly, therapy can be a sort of prayer, because you're giving voice and externalizing these things that may have chewed you up inside for a long time or felt insurmountable, But as soon as they're outside of your body, literally just the words take form and leave your mouth, and then it's outside of you in a way that feels manageable, or feels like you're approaching manageable of these like difficult things.
Yeah, therapy is like helping you be a better person in the world, right? So that's a gift to everybody who has to come into contact with you by not internalizing all of those thoughts or things that you're going through. Also, meditation is a form of prayer, if you look at it that way. It's a form of like, okay, I'm trying, you're setting an intention, you're trying to calm your thoughts and actually be a more well-balanced person. So that's a form of prayer too. So all of that stuff is good as a tool to be a better person in the world.
Well, our next question comes from Amanda. And before we let Amanda in, I thought this would be a perfect question for you, Ed, since you played a character who was broken up with while on a yacht. So Amanda's really going through it. Subject line is heartbreak on a yacht. Dear Chelsea, a month ago, me and my partner of 4 years split up. 3 weeks prior, he had ended it, and I was devastated. He resigned, we work on a yacht together, and I packed my bags. I didn't want to give him an opportunity to panic and change his mind. But sure enough, he asked me to stay, and I did. 3 weeks later, he hooks up with our friend and coworker. The relationship ended, and he told me he would resign. Typically on boats, as we all live and work together, when a couple splits up, there's an honor code that the one who ends it is the one to leave. I took 6 weeks unpaid leave so I could fly home and be with my support system and give him time to finish out his contract and not risk losing any pay. When I was leaving, he told me he was going to do everything he could to find a way forward for us. A month after the breakup, he calls to say the separation is the right thing and he won't be resigning. Neither he nor the person he hooked up with resigned. The last thing I want to do is give up my job. I love what I do. I just got a new contract, but the thought of being trapped on a boat together and having to see him every day feels daunting. And there is an update that happened just yesterday. She got a call that her contract was canceled and theirs was not. So Amanda's really going through it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hi, Amanda.
Hi.
Hi, honey.
Hey.
This is Ed Helms, our special guest today.
Oh my gosh. Hello. Lovely to meet you.
Likewise, I'm so sorry for all this
Yacht shit.
this hardship. Get it?
Oh, wow.
Terrible. I'm going to throw a HUD in there right
That was
out
good.
of
That
the
was
gate.
that was almost
Thank you.
Zach Galifianakis territory,
Yeah.
Ed.
Matt, this does sound tough. You're so are you with your support system now?
Yeah, I've been with my family and my friends, so I'm very fortunate to have them. But yes, as Catherine said, as of yesterday, I've been let go as a result. So I guess now it's a whole different ballgame of how to proceed.
So did you lose this contract because of the sort of messiness of the situation?
Yes, I was told it was due to the extenuating circumstances.
So is he has a senior position, a more senior position than you do?
Yes, he is a high-ranking person. So yeah, he, I guess, got priority.
Okay. And does
Yeah.
the woman work on the yacht too? I was confused by
Yeah.
who resigned and who resigned. Okay.
No one's resigned, but yes, the person he hooked up with, they both are still on
Okay. Well,
board.
you can't go back to that situation. So it's time to find another position, right, on a different yacht.
Yeah.
How hard is that?
I have no doubt that I'll be able to find another job. I'm not concerned about that. I'm very capable. Yeah, so I guess with Catherine, initially, I was just, I guess, hoping to find a way to navigate through this. But even now, people are telling me to try and appeal the termination. So yeah, I'm just at a bit of a loss.
I
right now.
honestly really wouldn't pursue that.
Yeah.
What a waste of your time and energy. Why? You're
it
gonna
seems like winning that appeal puts you in a worse position, right? Where you're on where you're on the boat with this sort of toxic energy.
dynamic.
Yeah, I agree.
And there is something about like being in a like being apart, like having physical distance from the pain, the source of this pain, can be incredibly healing. Just not like you said, like you intuitively understood, kind of being in that presence, seeing him every day, so forth, that would just kind of keep you in this laundry cycle of frustration, anger, hurt, all of it. So embrace the distance.
Are you okay with doing that? Like, are you ready to do that? Like, I mean, I think you need to heal and move on and go and find yourself in a completely new environment. I'm so happy to hear that you know that you're capable enough to get another job. I mean, I know this is it's a small community of people who work on boats. I mean, it can seem like a large one, but really it isn't. It's a smaller community. So, like, if you're good at your job, you're going to get another job on a yacht.
Yeah, no, I have no doubts about that. I guess it's just been, the whole process has been so devastating just at every turn. And then, yesterday was like, I didn't even, I didn't believe that it could get to this point where I would be fired. And I understand, I'm like, big picture wise, like you guys are saying, this is the best thing to get away from it and all that. I guess I'm just still reeling from.
Totally.
Which is totally understandable. Normal. And give yourself 100%. Grace. Give yourself time. Like, you're not supposed to get over these things in a week or 2 weeks or even a month or 2 months. Yeah. Like, this is a big situation. You were with him for 4 years. You have every right to be upset, to feel your grief, to go through all of the emotions and all the stages of emotions that don't come in the order that people tell you that they're going to come in. And just when you think you're out of the woods, it hits you again. But be honest about your feelings, which you are doing. You're called in here. You're having an honest conversation with people you don't know about how you're feeling and how hurtful this is and how shocking it is. Have you heard about the new Mel Robbins book, Let Them Theory?
Yes, I have. I actually listened to the episode with you and her yesterday on a run. I was like, I need something to
read that book because you have to let him, let her, let them do their thing and be grateful that you're not in there, that you're not in the mix to have to witness any of that.
Are you concerned at all about your sort of standing in this community?
Well, that's the other thing is I feel like because it's such a small industry and everyone knows somebody on a boat, when you're applying for something, everyone knows whoever's applying. It's a very small community. So that's the other reason why I've been trying to be as peaceful as possible through this whole process. Cause I'm like, I don't want it to reflect poorly on me.
Sure.
So that's another thing with appealing this. I'm just like, I feel like I hope my integrity would speak for itself moving forward.
And people talk, like they'll get, I think, the real story of like that you are the one who got the short end of the stick on this. I had a spiritual teacher once tell me, God or the universe or your better angels will, when something's not right for you, they'll like tap you on the shoulder and try to tell you. And if you don't listen, they'll like tap you harder. And then if you still don't listen, you get like the 2x4 across the head. And like this ending of the contract feels like this is the 2x4 of just like, this is not for you. There's something way better for you.
Mm.
Yeah. I believe that too.
Yeah, and it's really
big picture.
And listen, and just appreciate where you are in this moment and all of that. Don't try to fast forward your healing. Go through it. The only way to get through something is to really, really feel it and be honest about your like emotions. You know what I mean? Lean on the people that love and care about you. Unfortunately, this relationship is over, but you're going to move forward in a better and a stronger sense of self. That's always what happens when we get our hearts broken. We always come out stronger, and that's not debatable. So like that's what's going to happen with you. You're capable, you're competent, you're strong. I'm so happy you have a support system that you were able to fly home to. And I'm so glad. You do need a letter of recommendation from these people. So you do need to contact him back. I'm sure that's a given, but you do at the very minimum, they have to guarantee you they didn't give you any reason to fire you. So they have to give you a letter of recommendation when you go out and look for a new job. And I do know a few people who do own yachts, and I'd be happy to pass on your resume to them.
That's incredibly kind.
I know that comes as a huge surprise to all of our listeners.
Chelsea's in the yacht crew.
Chelsea's so right here. It's so easy to kind of like intellectually understand why getting fired in this situation might be a positive thing, and why like the math might look good on paper. Oh, we're going to have distance now. But Chelsea's so right. The emotions, all the feelings, all of the pain and the trajectory of your grief is something to just submit to, even when it's like on paper it feels like, oh, I'm making the right steps. It just doesn't always feel that way, and so embrace that and move through it. Feel it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
no, I agree.
You're going to be just fine. You're going to be better than fine.
Yeah, you are going to be better than fine. Not right now, but very soon.
Very soon.
Yeah.
Chelsea, I obviously read your book as soon as it came out. Life Will Be the Death of Me is what got me into therapy in 2019. And so I do think my ability to handle this has been because of all of that work in the last few years. And I've even been rereading little bits of your book, talking about moving through heartache. And it's been very helpful. Amongst everything else, it's been very helpful. And I can't express enough how much,
I'm so glad. I'm so glad. I'm glad. Well, take care of yourself.
And send me your resume. We'll get it passed along the chain.
For sure.
That's incredibly kind. Thank you all so much. This is just so lovely. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks, Amanda. And thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye.
Ed, you're really good at this too.
I know, that was very compassionate.
Yeah.
I love how stable she is and so normal. You know, like I love how our listeners are normal and they're like, they can handle these situations. Like she's going to be just fine. She should be counseling other people going through breakups.
Well, our next caller is Jonathan. Dear Chelsea, I need your help getting unstuck. I'm in a job I have a deep bond with, working as a nanny to a child with special needs, one that has given me financial stability and a strong sense of purpose. But as much as I love it, I know it's time to move on to fully commit to my acting career. The problem, I feel paralyzed by guilt over leaving something that has meant the world to me. I worry about losing a part of my identity and the people who've become my family. On top of that, there's the financial risk. I have bills to pay, and while I want to take the leap, I also don't want to put myself in a situation where I'm struggling just to get by. That said, I've been putting in the work. I've taken real steps to get my mental and physical health together, and I've been submitting for everything I can to open new doors. I've worked hard to build a creative life. I perform on stage, I dance, I even made a name for myself in the drag world. But I know I need to take bigger risks if I want acting to be my main focus. I moved to LA from Iowa with $250 to my name, and for the last 7 years, I've made it work. As a gay man from a small town, I take pride that everything I've built has been entirely on my own. I keep telling myself to be patient and trust the process, but after turning 30 this past year, I feel like I'm starting to lose my spark. I don't want to give up, but I also don't want to wake up one day and realize I played it too safe. How do I take this leap without losing myself or my rent money in the process? Best, Jonathan.
Hi, Jonathan.
Hello, how are we doing?
Good. We have another actor here on the show today. Ed Helms is our special guest.
Oh, wow.
Hi, Jonathan.
Hi. Hello.
Gosh, I'm so. I know you're in a difficult spot, what feels like a crossroads, but you have already made so many tough decisions and taken so many risks. You have so much to be proud of already.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And, I think that just these last couple of years, I feel like I've kind of the momentum, like something has kind of happened where I just feel like I'm in a little bit of a functional freeze right now. And I'm just kind of thinking about, I guess I was wanting to kind of ask, like, when you guys were starting out, like, what kind of helped you get through to like take those kind of risky steps towards making your passion like your main source, and I know that it's a process, but I also, like I said, I have a deep bond with this family, and I don't necessarily want to give that up either,
So outside of acting, you're not feeling like there's a need to leave the job. It's more like the conflict between the two.
Yeah.
Is it an everyday, 5-day-a-week job?
It is. Yes.
I see.
Do they have does this family that they're aware of your acting ambitions or no?
No. Yes, they definitely are.
Yeah,
for sure.
And this is a very positive and nurturing relationship with this family. I assume they adore you and appreciate you.
Yes,
So,
they feel like family for sure.
which is amazing and a tribute to you. And I would also encourage you to explore the possibility, dare I say likelihood, that this family wants you to thrive. And this family wants what's best for you as well. Of course, they depend on you in some very critical ways. but it sounds like they also would not only be understanding but supportive. Is that a leap?
I think that I think sometimes I have to kind of get real with myself and realize that, like, I'm also here for a reason. And I think that's kind of been the issue that I've been working with is, I've got a couple gigs here and there, and those have been fine. But I guess I really it's kind of stopped me from like pursuing something that would be like a large block of time away from them, because
Sure.
I don't know if that would be the case if they'd be able to kind of keep me around. And I think more so I'm just like, okay, like I know I need to take the next step, and I've been really lucky with the opportunities that I've had, but I just feel like I've been kind of in this in between now for these last couple of years, and
It's because you are in between.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I understand, and it would be great if you could work around your schedule and they could be accommodating to you, but then you're still in between. Like, when you want to go for something, especially in this business, you have to go like 155% in that direction. You can't have like other side gigs going on. If you really want to achieve this and this is your dream, you kind of have to go full throttle. It's like a fucking bowling ball down a hallway. Like, nothing is going to get in your way until you get to your goal, and then that goal leads to the next thing, and that job leads to the next job. So you do kind of have to throw everything you have at what you want in order to obtain that and attain it. And so I get that part, and I think this stuff, it would be great if they could be malleable and work around you. I don't know how realistic that is. Is it realistic for them to like work with your schedule and give you the opportunities you need to go and seek auditions? Like, how does that work with a child with special needs? You can't just bring them along.
So that's kind of the difficult thing. They are amazing co-parenters, but they both have very high level jobs that require a lot of time away, and I think they rely on me a lot more than, maybe is it healthy, but I'm kind of okay with that. And I think that I because of like the connection that I've built, I just feel like I'm torn between, what's right for me, like taking those steps to advocate for myself, because I feel like I'm just kind of a third parent at this point.
Well, I think what happens a lot with caregivers, whether that's a hired caregiver, family caregiver, is like it feels like it's all on one person. It's on the main caregiver, which right now is you. So because the parents can't be someone to like take a day off and take care of the child when you're unavailable, say you have to go to an audition, or if you do get a longer term gig like in a play or something like that you can't be there every day, it may be worth sitting down with them and proposing another solution, which is like, I want to be the main person, but like, let's bring in a specific other person who can be kind of on call, who we can call on those days when like, I know I need to go drive across town to an audition, or I need to do something else. And it just feels like if we fill that sort of missing system, then you have a little bit more freedom to do what you need to do.
Right. And it's funny, I actually just kind of brought that up to them. So I feel like I'm taking steps in the right direction, but I just want to feel unstuck, you know. I think that's kind of where I'm at right now, is just feeling like, I'm really proud of how far I've come, and I feel like I can recognize that, but I also want to push myself in the other direction, and I want to keep the momentum going, and I just feel like I've lost that. And so I think I don't know. I just feel stuck right now. And
I think a great solution would also be for you to be the person in charge of training the new person and bringing them in. So that will free up. So, like once you get them situated and understanding of like all of the dynamics and all of the things that need to happen each day, and, and the relationship, like once you get that situated, then you'll have time to like kind of float in and float out of the job when needed. And how were they responsive to you when you brought this up to them?
Yeah, they were responsive, but I think, they really struggled. I don't think they've ever had anyone as long as they've had me.
Sure.
You know, and the bond that I have with their child. And I'm nervous that you know, it's going to be kind of hard to find somebody that can match that.
Of course,
and
it is.
You know,
it will be.
It will be. It will be. But you,
you can be the, as Chelsea said, like be the constructive part of this transition. You know, lay the groundwork for the transition. Be the person who's really like leading the search for this new person. Have a heavy overlap with them in a training, sort of almost like an apprentice process, perhaps. And then the other thing to keep in mind is that this relationship with this family and this child that clearly means so much to you and to them and the child, it doesn't go away with you thriving in another area. If you start to really, you know, get more work in the acting space and your career starts to blossom, they're still there and they still care about you. And it's not like a breakup. It's it's a sort of it's just branches of a tree kind of maybe growing apart, but they're still attached to the trunk. And you've built so much with this family, it sounds like. This is a very poignant moment, and I can sense your struggle and but just remember that the struggle you're feeling is rooted in how much love there is in this family unit that you're a part of now. And I think you keep checking, you keep saying things that make it clear that this transition feels necessary. It feels important. And then the question starts to become, so what are the steps and how do I manage it? And how do I do it in a way that's responsible and loving to these people I care so much about? And that's going to take some work, and it will be hard and it'll be painful at times. There'll be like the emotional pain of the separation eventually, whatever form it takes, will be hard. But also you thriving and pursuing this thing that you literally came here to do, or at least taking that risk and taking that jump. I'm hearing that feels very critical.
It does. And I think that I feel like through the pandemic, I just kind of lost my spark a little bit. I mean, like I said, I moved here with nothing and I just kind of made it work. And, I think I'm trying to rediscover that part of me. Right. And understand that, like, I've been really lucky to not really kind of fall on my face, but I'm nervous, I think, right now about, especially like with just the economy and everything the world is right now, to kind of take that leap. But I feel in, my heart and my body that it's ready to, I'm ready to do that,
Good.
Right. Good.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much.
Yeah.
Thanks for calling in, Jonathan. Good job. Well done. I mean, you can always maintain that relationship. You know what I mean? Always, regardless of whether you're their point person or his main caregiver or not, you can always, create a long-standing relationship and maintain a long-standing relationship with that family.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Chelsea. I really appreciate it.
Okay.
And yeah. I mean, this podcast has done so much for me. Your episode with Cody Rigsby about all the body issues really kind of healed something in me. And I appreciate the work you guys are doing.
Love to hear that. Love that, Jonathan. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you guys.
Have a great day and good luck with everything.
So
thank you.
Okay. And we'll be right back to wrap up with Ed Helms. We're back with Ed Helms, whose newest project is a book. He has a podcast by the same name. It's called Snafu, The Definitive Guide to History's Greatest Screw-Ups. It's a great gift for all of you readers out there. It's a great book to put by your pool, put by your toilet, put on your coffee table.
Anything liquid related.
Anytime you're around liquid, we want you to pick up the book and read a couple of chapters. It's fascinating and entertaining, just like Ed Helms himself. Ed, you have been an incredible guest today. You were very helpful to all of our callers, and I'm so grateful.
Well, this has been a blast. This is it's really amazing to hear these people call in and just talk about how much you have affected them, Chelsea.
Oh, I know. It's so sweet.
You have some superpowers, for sure.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you. It was such a pleasure to see you twice in like 3 weeks. I love this.
I know. Me too. Let's do more.
I'll see you by the next toilet or swimming pool that we bump into each other by.
All right. Thanks so much.
Okay. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.